His video. What's up, y'all? I was doing my man video right here.
Coming tomorrow?
Too much.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Too much craziness going on in his video. All right, so this is the one I wanted to do right here.
Diddy Combs just sat there, arms crossed, dead silent, while the U.S. government...
Yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. Diddy trial closing arguments.
labeled him the leader of a criminal enterprise. They said he ordered kidnappings. They said he burned a man's car to the ground. They said he trafficked women across state lines, brutalized them, and used baby oil as part of his national sex trafficking operation. And you're telling me we're just now hearing the full truth during closing arguments? Buckle up, guys. Today, we're breaking down day 30 of the United States versus Sean Combs, the first day of closing arguments from the prosecution. And it was explosive. The government didn't hold back. They accused Diddy of racketeering, sex trafficking, arson, witness tampering, and kidnapping. And not only are those charges still very much on the table, they're now the central focus. We're going deep into the government's final attempt to convince the jury that Diddy is not just guilty, he's the kingpin of it all. The assistant U.S. attorney, Slavic, wasted no time. She opened by declaring that over the past 7 weeks, the jury had learned something undeniable. Sean Combs is a criminal leader who doesn't take no for an answer. That's not hyperbole. That's a direct quote. From there, she walked them through a brutal, methodical breakdown of the evidence. And it hit like a hammer. Her first order of business, the RICO charge, the glue holding this whole criminal case together. Slavic made it clear this wasn't about just a few isolated incidents. This was about a criminal enterprise led by Combs himself, a web of personal staff, enablers, security guards, and fixers, all working together to silence victims, clean up messes, and enforce Combs' will by any means necessary. She named predicate acts one by one: drug distribution, kidnapping, arson, sex trafficking, forced labor, bribery, and witness tampering. If the jury finds him guilty of just two guys, just two, the entire RICO charge sticks. And Slavic didn't leave much doubt. She laid out far more than two. One of the most chilling accounts came from the early 2000s. According to testimony, after some diamonds went missing from Jacob the jeweler, Diddy ordered that Capricorn Clark, one of his employees, be taken into custody. Yes, custody. And by custody, we mean dragged into a room, strapped to a lie detector, and told that if she failed, she'd be dumped into the East River. They did this for 5 days. That's not interrogation. That's terrorism. That's a kidnapping by force and threat. And according to the government, it was just the first of 3. Slavic then moved into arson. Yes, arson. That same car explosion that people whispered about for years. Not just a rumor. Prosecutors made it crystal clear. The burning of Kid Cudi's car was a violent act of retribution orchestrated by Diddy because he suspected a relationship between Cudi and Cassie. They even referenced Diddy's presence during a drive-by. And while they didn't lean heavily into that part about the part about Cudi's dog being locked inside and all of that, in the house possibly being ablaze or broken into, the details of how they broke this out was very chilling to hear. Then it got even darker. The government introduced a freeze frame still from the infamous Intercontinental Hotel video. It showed Diddy dragging Cassie by the hair or a hood. We've all seen the video, right? With her body limp behind him. The image was raw, violent, and I would say haunting. And it stayed up on the screen for a very long time, long enough to make sure that it was burned into their minds, to the minds of every juror in that courtroom.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't enough, they played a transcript of Jane saying that Combs grabbed her by the hair, then beat her as well. Next came Jane. Now, you guys know I'm mixed about her, but they wanted to tell her story again. And it's the kind that makes you, I would say, sick to your stomach. She walked the jury through 3 instances. The first of so-called sobriety party, where Jane vomited between her second and third sexual encounter with men, coerced and broken down, only for Diddy to say, "Get back out there." Then there was the hotel assault, where Jane hit her head on the counter before being forced to perform oral sex on Diddy's associate, Anton. And it really wasn't an associate, it's a male escort, freak off. She didn't want to, she says. She says she was bruised and bleeding, but had no choice. And that for Anton, nobody knows why he didn't testify. Is he dead? Is he afraid? Paid off? We don't know. I will say there was a lot of witnesses that were not called during this entire
A
thing
whole
that would
lot.
make sense. Like, why wouldn't you have Anton on the stand to corroborate this? It was just weird. There were stories that have no evidence to just witness testimony. And then there would be text messages with Jane Doe. Like, she would be planning the freak off. She would get Diddy to come back to her by enticing him with the freak off. And her story and Cassie's stories are completely different. I'm not saying that she isn't some kind of victim. When you look at it in totality, to me, her and Cassie are in completely different leagues and just how things went down. Again, look at it for yourself. And then to see the things that she's doing and how she's moving right now, I don't know if her story is going to have the impact that the prosecution really wants it to have. Now, here's where things got a little weird. During the discussion of the federal jurisdiction, Slavic brought up baby oil. Yes, baby oil. She mentioned that Diddy used products that affected interstate commerce and that some of these, like baby oil, were transported across state lines.
Baby oil?
Baby oil was transported across state lines. It sounded almost ridiculous until you remember, okay, that baby oil was reportedly a tool used in these coerced sex acts. It wasn't a throwaway detail, but it was kind of weird. It is evidence, but I guess it's evidence that connected Diddy to all of these twisted actions and his federal charges. But are we really talking about baby oil was transported across state lines? I mean, I've probably bought baby oil one time in when I lived in the DMV and I would
Maryland,
live
DC,
in Maryland
Virginia.
and I don't know, go to DC. Maybe I had some baby oil in the car. Is that true? No, I'm just joking, guys. But that was just weird. Like, I don't understand. I don't think that's going to have an impact. It kind of sounds like a joke, to be honest. Now, you might be wondering, where was the defense during all this? Sitting silently. Diddy himself pushed his chair far back from the table, staring into the void. His lawyers slouched, arms crossed, chins resting in their hands. According to courtroom observers, they kind of looked defeated, or maybe just stoic. Maybe they were holding out for Friday. Maybe they thought that this wave would pass. But I think one thing was clear. The prosecution dominated this room, which they were supposed to because it's their closing argument. We've got to see what they're going to do, the defense, for their closing argument, because as you know, they didn't really put up a defense. They just went up there for 30 minutes and read out some text and some facts, and that was it. It was pretty bizarre. But the question is, why is the government so confident? I think because they don't need to prove everything, guys. That's the dirty little secret of a RICO case. All they need is for the jury to believe 2 predicate acts.
Wow.
That's it. And Slavic gave them kidnapping, arson, forced oral sex, interstate transport, coercion, and more. She painted Combs not as some chaotic figure, but as an orchestrator, a planner, a mob boss, dressed up in Gucci. And she backed it up with receipts, testimony, video, text messages, and the eyewitnesses. The courtroom wasn't empty though, guys. Cassie's lawyer was there. So was Karen Agnifilo, a heavyweight in New York legal circles. Misa Hilton, Justin's mother, one of Diddy's sons, showed up too. And even Diddy's daughters were finally back in the gallery, reportedly looking heartbroken. It's pretty sad. One had an awkward encounter in the bathroom with a reporter. I guess it was just a human moment. It was tragic though. And I think it reminds us all that the prosecution may be going after a mogul, after a man who is bad, but he does have a family. He does have innocent, I will say, daughters, not sons, innocent daughters who have had to live through all of this. So what did we learn today? We learned that the government is not just alleging that Sean Combs broke the law. They're saying he ran a criminal empire, shielded by fame, funded by record details, and protected by the silence of those too scared to speak out. And now, the empire is under siege. The walls are closing in. And if the jury believes even two parts of this story, he goes down. That's crazy. Guys, we've got to watch closely because the next time we talk, the defense will be on the mic and they will need a miracle to flip this narrative around.
You got that right. Everybody's saying that. They're not saying too much, man. Hey, that's some good update right there. That's some very good update. Transporting baby oil across state lines. Why would you even say that? Man, these people are crazy. Hey, I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.